The theory of evolution has so much evidence to back it up that scientists generally consider that we can treat it, for all intents and purposes, as fact. It's like the germ theory of disease or the theory of gravity. Yet many Christians reject evolution. Gallup did a poll a few years ago and found that of people who attend church weekly, two-thirds believe that God created humans in present form within the last 10,000 years. Why is this? Why do so many Christians reject evolution? There are many reasons. I'm going to highlight 5 that I think are among the most common. I'm interested in knowing if you think I'm missing any significant ones. Hey there, I'm John and welcome to my channel. We proclaim that you can be a committed follower of Jesus and not reject modern science. So let's dive in. I'll give 5 reasons. Number 1, and I think the most common reason, is that many Christians were taught that the only legitimate way to read early Genesis is to read it literally as literal history. That's what their pastor said, that's what their Sunday school teacher said, and so forth. They were never taught that there are other acceptable ways to read the text. For example, in the context of the culture and literature of the ancient Near East. And they decide, well, if that's what I need to believe to be a good Christian, then that's what I believe. And they are wedded to a literal reading of early Genesis. Now, believing the text as you have been taught it is often a sign of strong faith. I will say 2 things, though, that may be hard to hear if you're in this camp. First, you should have been taught that there are alternative ways to faithfully read a text, so your teachers could have done better. Second, you may be in a church culture where asking questions when challenging what you were taught for the purpose of spiritual growth is discouraged. If so, that's not a healthy church culture. Now, the second reason why many Christians reject evolution, well-established, influential, and well-funded anti-evolution organizations like Answers in Genesis. These organizations, and others like them, have the effect of encouraging misunderstandings of evolution, and they put forth false evidence to the effect that evolution can't be true. You'll hear things like the second law of thermodynamics says that evolution is not possible, or that the Grand Canyon shows that the fossil record is consistent with Noah's flood, or that our bodies, or even bacteria, are too complex to have evolved, or that there wasn't enough time for the Cambrian explosion to have happened via evolution, and so on. What generally happens here is that these organizations will latch on to an apparent anomaly or to something that is not yet well understood and claim that they have disproven evolution. These claims are generally debunked in a short amount of time by the scientists who are experts in the relevant field. It's like a constant game of whack-a-mole. What it does, though, is give a Christian who is not a scientific expert false hope that evolution is false. AIG and the Discovery Institute and the like are muddying the waters, making it appear like rejecting evolution is a well-supported opinion given the actual evidence. Number 3, evolution raises difficult and uncomfortable questions and may challenge aspects of people's theology. It is normal and natural to avoid difficult and uncomfortable questions. For example, if evolution is true, then was there an historical fall? What about original sin? Why did God create a world with suffering and death baked into the cake? If Adam and Eve were not literal people who lived 6,000 years ago and were our first parents, do we have to reevaluate the way we understand passages such as Romans 5 and 1 Corinthians 15? I think there are satisfactory answers to these difficult questions, but I'm going through this discovery process myself and in the learning stage. No doubt, these are challenging questions, and I don't think the answers are always easy. I think many Christians reject evolution because they think it would force them to reconsider part of their theology. And number 4, at the beginning, when you don't yet know much about evolution, it may not always seem intuitive. On the surface, it doesn't appear obvious that the complexity of, say, the human brain or the human hand is the result of natural selection, or that all of life could have arisen from a single-celled organism. On a related note, what makes belief in evolution really challenging is that in our everyday experiences, we don't see it happening. Seeing is believing, as the saying goes. And while there are many examples of speciation occurring within a human lifetime, whether it be stickleback fish or peppered moths or bacteria or viruses, most people are not exposed to that information. And of course, the big transitions can take a long, long time, even millions of years. Finally, number 5, the science versus religion narrative. Some atheists push evolution as an alternative to God and say that science is all there is. Many Christians react by opposing evolution and even science in general. Related to this, many Christians see evolution as a religion or a worldview rather than as science and thus oppose it for that reason. Instead, we can and should agree with atheists that evolution happens, but stress that we believe God uses evolution. And we should celebrate science as the exploration of God's creation and point out that science on its own is not well equipped to prove or disprove the existence of a spiritual realm. Well, that's it for now. Comments are appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. Until next time, God bless.